In this video, I'm going to introduce you to 8 free AI article summarizers you can use to summarize your next research article or review article. I will also leave links to all of these down below, and I will leave discount codes where available down below as well if you're interested in the paid versions of some of these softwares. So to get started, we're going to get started with ExplainPaper. And to get started, we can just click this Upload PDFs buttons here, and then we can drag or drop our files in. So I'm just going to drag and drop the same file I'm going to use across all of them, and I'm going to click Begin Reading. Now, ExplainPaper's interface is more of a chat interface. So you can click Chat over here. You do have to upgrade or pay for ExplainPaper to be able to do any of the chats here. You can hit Explain, so that allows you to highlight over some text. So if I highlight over this, you can customize how you want it to explain to you. So I can say, explain it to me like I'm a middle schooler, and hit explain. And then it will explain what the article is trying to say, like I am a middle schooler, and give some related resources here. But the main thing we're interested in is the summary. So if you come to the paper tab here, you will see that underneath your title and your authors, it will give you a really quick, this is really a 2-sentence summary. It says, this paper explores using a technique called eye mobility spectrometry to separate different forms of steroids, which are important molecules used as biomarkers in drugs. The study found that this technique could effectively separate steroid molecules when they were combined with certain metal ions. So looking at this, the primary use that I would use ExplainPaper for is really their explain feature. I don't think their summary is going to be the absolute best summary that you can get. It's a nice to have, but ultimately you could have gotten this from the title or a couple sentences in the abstract. I think the primary use would be if you're having a hard time understanding things, because you can set the level that it explains it at. That might be really helpful, and it automatically gives these additional related resources that could help you understand it further. The accuracy of the summary is very accurate. When it comes to the customizability of the summary, there's really no way to customize this. If you use their chat feature, that would be pretty good. You could probably ask more specific questions like summarize the findings, summarize the methods, things like that. But right now with the free feature, there is no customizability, so I would give it a really low score there. And then the quality of the free version, I would say this is probably on average. It does give you a summary. Again, I think the main benefit of this is really the explain function over just a summary function itself. And finally, for a detailed summary, I'm going to give it a low score. Obviously, this is 2 sentences and it's really not giving us a lot of detail there. So overall, for ExplainPaper, I would say it's probably on average as a free AI summarizer. It's going to give you a really simple summary, and if that's all you need, that's great. But if you're really looking for a more detailed summary, it's not going to be the choice that you want to go to. If you're trying to get started in your field and you're trying to figure out what papers to read and how you want to start your first research project, I highly recommend downloading my 30-day research jumpstart guide. It's a completely free PDF that walks you step by step how to get up and running in a new field or in a new research project. The next summarizer I'm going to show you is ChatPDF. You can get the premium version of ChatPDF with a Genie AI subscription. I'm just going to show you the ChatPDF features today and the free version as well. So I'm going to drag and drop my article in here. And the very first thing that it does, you can see that this has a similar interface to ExplainPaper. And the first chat it's going to give you is a summary of your article. It says, hello and welcome to this informative PDF file on the application of Group 1 metal adduction to the separation of steroids by traveling wave eye mobility. The research article explores the use of eye mobility spectrometry for rapid separation of steroid isomers with a focus on Group 1 metal adducted steroids and their multimers. The study demonstrates promising results in achieving high-resolution separation and measuring ion-neutral collision cross-sections for analyte identification. And then it gives you 3 different questions that might be good questions to ask about this paper. So the first one's, how do Group 1 metal adducts contribute to the separation of steroid isomers in eye mobility spectrometry? What are the potential applications of the findings in this study for the analysis of steroids as biomarkers in scheduled drugs? And how do measured ion-neutral collision cross-sections using polyalanine as a calibrant enhance analyte identifications in this research? So even this question is actually giving you more information about the article, right? It's talking about that it's using polyalanine as a calibrant, so that gives you a little bit more information. You can also copy this message and paste it anywhere else just by clicking this copy button here. And if you highlight over, you can have it explain further, you can have it summarize, and you can have it rewrite. So I'm going to click explain. And now what you can see is I got a much, much longer summary. So it's still talking about the summary. The authors used eye mobility for separating steroid isomers. It gives a little bit more of the introduction here. So what steroids are, what eye mobility is. And then it says the study focuses on group 1 metal-adducted steroids and their multimers, aiming to enhance the separation of steroid isomers. The researchers were able to achieve high-resolution separation of these compounds. And then it talks about how TWIMS works. One key aspect was the measurement of ion-neutral collision cross-sections. It talks about what collision cross-sections are. And then it says, overall, the research demonstrated the effectiveness of TWIMS in separating steroid isomers as dimeric adducts of group 1 metals, showcasing its potential for rapid and accurate analysis of steroids as biomarkers in scheduled drugs. The combination of high-resolution separation and CCS measurements enhances the identification and characterization of steroid compounds, offering valuable insights for future analytical applications in the field of steroid analysis. So this actually, just asking it to explain this actually gave me like a much, much more detailed summary. I'm not going to customize this at all, just like I didn't for ExplainPaper, but you could ask more specific questions through the chat function to have it summarize this in a more customizable way. ChatPDF does have limits on the free account. So you can only add so many papers and you can only ask so many questions each day. Primarily, I would use it as just like getting a general summary, or if I wanted to be able to chat a little bit more and customize that summary, I think that's how I would use it. I would definitely choose the summary of ChatPDF over the summary of ExplainPaper. For the accuracy, this was all entirely accurate. I would rate it really high in accuracy. For customizability, I didn't really test this function that much, but you can customize it using the chat function. You would just have to specify your prompts to how you want this summary customized. The quality of the free version, I think, is really good. It's not limiting any of the functionalities. It is going to limit the amount of chatting that you can do with your PDF, but that's reasonable because it's having to pay each time you send a chat message. So I think that the quality of the free version is really good. And then the detailed summary. I would give this kind of probably like a 4 stars. I think the initial summary it gave was not incredibly detailed. It was a little bit more detailed than ExplainPaper, but not incredibly detailed. But when I had it explain it, I think it gave a really detailed summary after that fact. So I would give it about 4 stars for kind of not having the best summary in the beginning, but here's a way to get a much more detailed summary only using one chat there. The next summarizer we're going to look at is WordTune Read. So WordTune has 2 different components. It has like an AI editor, writer component, and then it has AI reader component, which is this WordTune Read. So I'm again just going to drag and drop my PDF in here. Once you've dropped your PDF in, you can see that it gives you the summary here. And so this is actually a really longer summary, and it's section by section. So the introduction, the study examined the use of eye mobility spectrometry to separate 7 pairs of steroid isomers as alkali metal adducts. Results show that in some cases, metal adducted dimers enabled enhanced separation of steroid isomers compared to the corresponding monomers or sodiated dimers previously reported. CCS values were also reported. So this gives a really good kind of overall summary of the paper. I'm a little surprised the introduction didn't provide like a summary of background information, but that's fine. This one does interestingly include the number of pairs of isomers. So we didn't see that with ExplainPaper or with ChatPDF. You can also see that if I click on this, it's going to show you where it's pulling this information from. You can also see view sources, and that's going to do the same thing. the purple highlight is showing you where it's pulling the information from to generate this summary. Also, if you expand it, you're going to get even more. So how I said earlier, it didn't include background information. It's because I didn't expand it. So once expanded, it's giving you all this background information. And then down here, it's just telling me what the study did itself. So this part, it doesn't have the ability to expand. It's really just telling us where the chemicals were bought from. For eye mobility mass spectrometries, it tells me what instrument it was performed on, how it was ionized, which is this part here. It's not telling me any of the IMS conditions here, but if I click on it, I can see where it's pulling this data from here. So I'm going to expand this so we can see it a little bit more broadly. It's just telling us how it was calculated. It's even telling me the softwares that were used to calculate it. And then it's telling me how the resolution values were calculated. So that's all the methods. And then we can get into the results here. So this is kind of the overall conclusion there. Lithium adduction enhanced separation of 3 steroid dimer isomer pairs on a millisecond timescale, but the separation was compromised for these two due to the formation of multiple conforms. Sodium and potassium adduct, we're seeing a lot of interesting results here. So testosterone series showed altered behavior for sodiated dimer adducts than as lithium dimer adducts. So you can see this is actually directly being taken from the purple here is the direct words being taken from the article. So overall, I would say that this is a far more detailed summary. The other thing you can do is you can customize this. So if I hit semantic search, I could specifically say I'm looking on doing a review on cortisone analysis. I could specifically search cortisone. And so you can see here, it says focusing the summary on cortisone. And so now it's pulling the data specifically for the keyword that I searched instead of just a general search. So this has a really high customizability factor. And if you don't want to see the highlights, you can always turn the highlights off up here. Let's score WordTune Read. So the primary use, I would use WordTune for papers that I'm doing a deeper dive in. So not just ones that I need to know kind of what they're about, but ones that are highly related to my field, ones that I'm going to be doing potential review on, things I'm including in my own research articles or things I'm presenting on. That's what I would use WordTune Read for. The accuracies, a lot of these are pulling the exact text from the article. So I would say that this is a highly accurate summarizer. For customizability, I would give it 5 out of 5 for customizability. It has the semantic search, which allows you to get a summary that's tailored to specific keywords there. And then the quality of the free version. I think that this is a really high quality product as a free version. Obviously, if you want to use these on a ton of different articles in a short period of time, you would need to upgrade to the paid version. And then the detailed summary. I think this is a 5 out of 5 detailed summary. The fact that you can get kind of a shortened version and then you can expand into a longer version if you want that. I really like that feature. I like that you can see the sources. So overall, I would say that WordTune Read's probably about a 5 out of 5 summarizer. I really like this platform. It's just got that limitation of the number of articles that you can look at. The next summarizer we're going to use is Resoomer. So for this, I'm going to upload my PDF using this button here. Once I've uploaded it, it's going to start giving a summary over here. Now, what you will notice that this is kind of the first one that this has a lot of ads on the page. So this does slow down the page a little bit when it's trying to load in all these different ads. But it is the one way that they've chosen to make more of their platform free. So in the summary, you have a few different options for summary. So you can do assisted, you can do automatic, manual, optimized, and text analysis. So we're going to just do the automatic. So what Resoomer does, which is a little bit different, is it actually shortens the article. So it keeps all the same words of the article. It just shortens it to what it thinks is most important. So you can see this is text reduced to 50%. And it has 924 words in it. So you can see that this has some headers. It seems like it's cutting off some of the sentences here. It says here, traveling wave mobility spectrometry was applied to the study of group 1 metal adducted steroids and their corresponding multimers for 5 sets of isomers. CCSs of steroid isomers using polyalanine as the calibrant, nitrogen CCS values were within 1% error. So this is overall, I think this is coming from the abstract here. And so then it goes into the introduction. So it's really just simplifying. It's making it shorter. This is still including a lot of information in it. It's just kind of taking the paragraphs and the areas that it thinks is most helpful. So this is kind of the end of the first page, and then you can click this arrow to go to the second page here. And this is showing that it reduced the text to 20% on this page. So it's reducing it a lot more on the results than it is on the introduction. So to make this a little bit more customized, I'm going to go to manual. And this, you can choose the size, and then I'm going to drop it down to 10%. So when I drop it down this far, it's giving me a few things in the introduction. IMS experience was performed on a water Synap G2S. It tells me where we're comparing CCSs. And it's giving me kind of the information about the results in here. So that's where we're getting into the results there. This is giving me a really kind of shortened version of the article. I can increase this more to get more and more details, all the way up to 90%, where I'm basically reading the entire article. And that's kind of the choices that you can make. In manual, you can customize it to how much you want to do. So overall, the primary use of this would be whenever you want to actually read the article, you just want to read it faster. So you want to get the highlights of the article, but you want to get exactly what that article says. So the accuracy of this is 100% because it's literally just pulling the words from the article itself. It's not trying to analyze it or write it in common language or anything like that. It's the exact words from the article itself. The customizability that you really have here is how much do you want it to be reduced. So I'll give this a 4 out of 5. You can't specifically pull out the sections related to a single statement. The quality of the free version, I would give it probably a 4 out of 5. I think overall, you can use this multiple times. It does have the ads on here whenever you are dealing with the free version. But if you really just want to be able to get a kind of truncated version of your article, I think it is kind of one of the best to be able to do that and then to be able to customize the different or how much it's being truncated there. And then finally, in the detailed summary, I would say that this is probably a 3 out of 5. I don't think this is going to be the best way to get the maximum information in the shortest amount of time, because you really are still reading the article here. You're just reducing how much of it you have to read to get what the author is saying. So it's really that balance between reading the actual article versus getting the information quickly. And I think this one is going to be more towards reading the actual article. The next AI summarizer we're going to do is actually a Chrome extension. So I'm going to come up to my extensions and I'm going to click on the Scholarcy. And so you can see when I go to the Scholarcy extension here that it is analyzing this article now. So once it's analyzed the article, it gives me a snapshot. So this is a really quick statement here. So it says the error shows that while polyalanine is a good calibrant for a monomer, it tends to overestimate the dimer collision cross sections, resulting in higher error. I would say that is kind of a sidestep to what the main point of this article is. It's not really the main point of it. So if I come down, it's going to give me the results. So the dimer showed improved separation through IMS analysis compared to monomer species. As has been previously shown with sodium, is a possible avenue of separation of structurally similar steroid isomers. These ATDs illustrated the ability for lithium adduction to aid in separation of specific steroid dimer isomer pairs on a millisecond timescale. So I think that kind of gives us a gist of what's happening here. I would say that this is not super detailed and the way it's written is a little bit confusing. For the conclusion, it says, TWIMS has been shown to be useful in the separation and identification of steroid isomers. It is important to determine whether separation through dimeratics is a useful technique when applied to mixtures of steroid isomers. So this is really a future directions here. This is a conclusion statement here. You can do explore this study. So we can, if I click summary here we go. So this is a far more detailed summary. So this is really just like a gist. It's not a ton of information, but you can click these explore this study to get more. So in here you can see the introduction. It's giving me quite a bit about the kind of background information up here. The objective, this work is aimed at further development of IMS separation for the analysis of steroids. That's correct. So this is what it included up above. And then it's giving me a little bit more information. So this, I would still say, is a little less detailed than I'd like it to be. It only really touched on one piece of the results and not the like 4 different sections of the results here. And then the conclusion, so this is really similar to up above. So I think when you use this summary, you're going to get a more detailed summary there. I'm going to go ahead and click synopsis and see if it's giving me anything different. So this is really just a quick summary. It says there were 3 pairs involved in the study. This is actually inaccurate. There were more than 3 pairs in this study. And then you can go to highlights and it's giving you a few more. So overall, it's really just giving me the same things over and over again in these different views. So I would say summary down here is the best one to use. And then you can export this to like a Word or a PowerPoint or a Markdown, and you can do the detailed or the summary. So for Scholarcy, the primary use that I would use this for is when I already have something up in a Chrome document. So if I already have a PDF open and I want to get a quick analysis, I think Scholarcy would be the best for that, because then I don't have to download it and upload it somewhere else. It's already within the Google Chrome area. For the accuracy, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars. I think some of the stuff that it's pulling in isn't accurate. Obviously, it said the 3 pairs, there were more than 3 pairs. And when I've used it previous to this, it will pull things that are just completely inaccurate, not just like pulling from the text, but like are not accurate statements at all. So I would give it a little bit lower accuracy. Definitely with any of these, you want to check the data with the article itself and make sure it is accurate. It could be a good way to give a quick information. It's not completely inaccurate. You just definitely want to make sure you're checking those finer details with the article itself. For customizability, there's really no customizability here. You can click these different buttons here, but you can't customize it in any way to this. So I would give it a low grade for customizability. The quality of the free version, I would give it probably 4 out of 5 stars. It's a decent quality of the results, at least compared to the paid. With the paid, you can save it to your library and you can get flashcards and a lot of other things. But as just a summarizer, I think it is a good quality summarizer. And then the detailed summary, I would probably also give this probably a 3 or 4 stars. Overall, like this just wasn't as detailed as I was hoping for. The other Chrome extension summarizer we're going to use is Recall. So if I come into my extensions, I can click on Recall, and this is going to give me a summary of this article as well. So it gives me the title up here. It gives me the introduction. So steroids are important biomolecules. Analyzing steroids is challenging due to the large number of isomers. That's kind of the first one that's given me that, really the like gist of why this is important. And then IMS offers a potential solution. It's talking about the methodology. So TWIMS was used and then polyalanine was used as a calibrant. And then the results. So lithium adducted dimers of steroid isomers showed improved separation compared to monomer species. Sodium and potassium adducted dimers provided separation for specific isomer pairs. Resolutions values greater than 1 word sheaf for all isomer pairs. And then CCS varied between different metal adducts and isomers. For the conclusion, TWIMS was successfully able to separate, and then CCS values can be used for identification and modeling of steroids. And then it has some key mentions down here. So overall, I actually really like this summary. I think it actually does a really good job of analyzing the paper and giving like the high level points. There'd be a few things that I'd add in, but for how concise it is, I think it does a really good job of balancing what's important to know there. So the primary use of this, I would use this if I want a quick but detailed summary of something I already have in a Chrome. So for this, you can't just add a PDF into your Chrome. You really have to go to a public website. So something with an HTTP or an HTTPS to be able to get this to work, because it's got to pull from that website. The accuracy, there was nothing inaccurate in this, so I would give this a 5 out of 5 stars. For customizability, there is no customizability for this summary, so that would be a 1 out of 5 stars. You can, Recall actually has a flashcard system and a quiz system and all of this stuff built into it. I'm not going to get into that today, but if you're interested, you can look into that and you can copy the summary here as well. The quality of the free version, you can see that right here it says 5 out of 10 cards. I would have to go in and delete cards to be able to keep running this. So I think the quality of the free version is good. Again, it's rate limited, so you can only use it so many times before you would have to upgrade. And then the detailed summary, I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think this really captures how I would structure an article and the main points of that. So I like this overall summary. I think there are a few key points in the article that I think that this is missing, such as the error of CCSs. I would have liked for it to pick up on that, and even a little bit more information about lithium inducted dimers. I think I would have liked that pulled in as well. So next we're going to go to Elicit, and Elicit has a lot of different functions. It's not just a summarizer. You can use it to find papers and do lots of different things. I'm going to use it to extract data from PDFs. So I'm going to add this in here, and Elicit does have a paid function. Right now, this will use credits. So right now I am on the free plan to show you what this does. If you want to be able to use it indefinitely, you would have to upgrade, and I will have a link below to that as well. So I can click upload PDFs. And so you can see it comes in here and it tells me to select the papers I want to extract or upload more. So I could extract data from multiple papers at a time. I'm just going to do the one right now, and then I can click next. So I have this paper in here, and what I can do to get my summaries is I need to add columns. And so you can see up here, it costs 10 to 100 credits on average. I have 5,000 credits, you can see here in this account. And so I can add these summary column in here. And so you see that adding in that summary column cost me 16 credits for just this one here. And it says TWIMS is successfully used to separate and identify steroid isomers through group 1 metal adduction and the formation of multimers. That is, it's accurate, but it's not a very detailed result. I'm going to go ahead and add in the main findings column here to see if we can get a little bit more detail. So in the main findings, it says TWIMS successfully separates steroids as dimeric addicts of group 1 metals, enabling enhanced separation of steroid isomers compared to monomers or sodiated dimers previously reported. 5 pairs of steroid isomers achieved a resolution value greater than 1 through TWIMS separation, and CCS values were measured, with polyalanine showing good calibration for monomers but tending to overestimate the dimer CCS, resulting in higher error. So I like this. I like the main findings. I want to see how many credits did that use. So that used another 12 credits, I think, to generate that. So it is using a good amount. I mean, it's accurate to what they're saying, 10 to 100 credits. That is accurate to what I'm seeing here. It is important to know that to download this, you have to upgrade to a paid plan. So even if you have credits, you can't actually download any of this information. You could highlight over it, copy it, and paste it somewhere else. When you highlight over it, you actually get the relevant quotes here, but it's cut off. So you can see where it's pulling. So it is actually showing you where it's pulling that data from. I do like that feature. I highlight that, yeah, you can see it's pulling this quote in here. So I do like that feature of it. So overall, primary use here, I would use this, 1, if I already have Elicit, if I'm already paying for Elicit. And then 2, if I'm trying to analyze a decent amount of or summarize a decent amount of articles at the same time. I think for a single article, this is overall probably a waste of your credits here. I would use one of the other summarizers that I've already gone through. For accuracy, this is highly accurate. I would give it a 5 out of 5 accuracy here. For customizability, you can add additional columns, but you really can't customize these columns here. So I would say that I would give this probably a 2 out of 5 for customizability. You do have the option to add in new columns or get summaries of specific things. But again, that's going to cost an additional credit than just being able to customize, like give me a summary on this word or something like that. The quality of the free version, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I think the fact that you cannot even use credits to export out a file really limits the ability here. And then the detailed summary, I would give this, the actual summary, I would give it like a 2 out of 5. When you add in the main findings, I think you can give it like a 3 or a 4 out of 5 for the detailed summary there. But again, that is adding in 2 different columns. If anything, if you're really just looking for the main findings, I would skip the summary column and just add in the main findings column there. The next summarizer we're going to do is SciSpace. So with SciSpace, we can add in our paper just by uploading it in here. I'm again in the extract data from PDFs. So this has kind of a very similar feel to it as Elicit. And then I'm going to upload the file. And then I can select the data to be extracted. So I'm going to get a summarized abstract, results, conclusions, methods used, and I will leave it at that. And then you can add your own column there. And so I'm going to click extract data. So this has added this into my library here. So there's several things in here. And so if we look at the TLDR, it says study focuses on IMS separation of steroid isomers using TWIMs. The summarized abstract, this is the same sentence as the TLDR. And then group 1 metal adducts enhance the separation of steroid isomers. For results, we get TWIMs successfully separated steroids as dimeric group 1 metal adducts, and metal adducted dimers enhance separation of steroid isomers. This is saying the same thing here. I'm not sure that that's giving me a lot of additional information there. If I look at the conclusions, this adds in the CCS. So CCS values measured using polyalanine provide additional analyte identification metric. It's not giving me a lot of the results that are there. And then looking at the summarized introduction, it's really giving me the same information over and over again. It's that steroids were analyzed by mobility. Group 1 metal adducts enhance the separation, and then dimers, and then the CCS values. And for the methods used, it says traveling wave ion mobility spectrometry applied for steroid analysis, and resolution assessed using ATDs for lithium. Well, assessed using all of them. So I think the way this is phrasing this is making it almost seem awkward or like almost inaccurate, even though it's not. But this is how you would get your summary through SciSpace, is you would add in columns, and you can add in additional columns as well to customize it, similar to how you would do with Elicit. So what is the primary use for SciSpaces? I would say, again, if you are already paying for SciSpace, use what you're already paying for, right? Like you could then add in custom columns that could get you more accurate information here. The other thing is, if you are working with a lot of different papers, then I think it's worth using something like SciSpace or Elicit, depending on which one works best for you. SciSpace, you're going to get a lot more capabilities on the free version than you will on Elicit. So let's talk about the accuracy of this. The accuracy, I'm going to get a 4 out of 5 because of the way that it phrases certain things makes it confusing. So it's not like giving you inaccurate information. It's just giving you more confusing information that I think could lead to inaccurate conclusions. The customizability, you do have the customizability to add in new columns. I don't know if there's a limit on the number of like custom columns that you can add in here. So I would say that the customizability, I would say, is a 3 out of 5. The quality of the free version, I think SciSpace has a really good free version for what it offers. So I would give that a 5 out of 5. And the detailed summary, honestly, I'm going to give that a 2 out of 5. I think this is just missing a lot of the details I would like for it to have. So overall, that was 8 free article summarizers. I want to give you one bonus article summarizer, and that is within ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is a free platform, but what I'm going to show you, you do need to have ChatGPT Plus, which is their paid version, which is why I'm considering this a bonus and not one of the free article summarizers that I'm going to show you. So with ChatGPT Plus, you can actually create your own GPT bots. I'll leave a link below to the video that I did on creating a ChatGPT bot. But I've actually created a bot here. So if you have ChatGPT Plus, you can come into Explore GPTs here. And if you search for Research Article Summarizer, you will see this one here. It's by Science Grad School Coach. So that's the one that I made. And so I can start a chat here with it. And all you have to do here is actually upload the PDF. So if I upload the PDF, I'm not going to make any comments in here or anything. I'm just going to upload this in here. So with this gives an initial summary in the beginning. Then it uses a specific structure to give its results. So it first will tell you the research questions that this paper answers, the methods, and it'll tell you the methodology, the independent variables, the dependent variables, and the instruments used. The key findings, so this is basically the results, the limitations discussed in this paper, and then the future work. And then it gives just kind of a one-sentence summary down here. So it says this article explores the application of traveling wave eye mobility spectrometry for analyzing steroid isomers through group 1 metal adduction. And then here's a summary. So the research questions is how can TWIMs be applied to enhance the analysis and separation of steroid isomers, and can group 1 metal adduction improve the separation and identification of steroid isomers? So for the methods, it says that this utilizes the TWIM separation of steroid isomers as group 1 metal adducts, and it even includes the 3 metals used here. The independent variable was the type of metal adduct, and the dependent variable was the resolution of steroid isomers and the ion-neutral collision cross-section. And the instrument used are the water Synapse G2S with the nano-electrospray ionization and polyalanine for a CCS calibrant. And all of that is accurate to what we did. The key findings, it's found lithium, sodium, and potassium adducts of steroids demonstrated enhanced separation capabilities for steroid isomers in TWIMs. Dimeric metal ion adducts showed a resolution greater than 1, indicating potential for quantitative analysis. And then measured CCSs provide additional metrics for analyte identification, with CCS values of steroid isomers being within 1% for monomeric sodiated adducts. So it didn't talk about the increase for the dimers here. It does say potential discrepancies in CCS calibration could affect accuracy for multiple species as a limitation. And then this study was limited to certain steroid isomers and group 1 metals, which may not generalize across all possible steroid analyses, which those are both accurate. The future work, so it gave us 3 different suggestions for the future work. The application of TWIMs for broader range of steroid isomers and metal adducts, the development of a more accurate CCS calibration methods, especially for multimeric species, and investigation of the technique's applicability to complex mixtures of steroid isomers to validate its utility in practical analytical applications. So this has actually already been done. I did this work in a paper that was published 5 years ago. So this study underscores TWIMs coupled with metal adduction as a promising technique for the separation and identification of steroid isomers, with potential applications in bioanalysis and pharmaceutical research. So overall, this is how I like to analyze my papers, right? Whenever I'm reading a paper, this is what I want to know about those papers. And so that's why I generated a bot that is able to do it like this. But if you have a different setup that you like, you can actually generate a bot that has that specific setup in it. And again, I'll leave that link below if you want to see how to generate your own bot, or I'll leave a link below to this one. If you have ChatGPT Plus, this is completely free for you to use. You can literally just upload your paper and you would be able to get a similar readout of your paper. So for this, how would I analyze this? For the primary use, I would use this if you are a ChatGPT Plus member and you want this similar readout, or to build your own to make one that you can literally constantly use, right? Like there's no limitations once you have ChatGPT Plus. You can use it unlimited, and it's going to give you the exact same readout every time. You don't have to try and customize it every single time. The accuracy for this was a 5 out of 5 for me. There was nothing inaccurate in what it said. That is different than if you are just using like ChatGPT and chatting with it. That can produce some inaccuracies, so be aware of that. But with the ChatGPT Plus, the ability to upload a PDF and things like that, this was highly accurate. Customizability, you can customize your own bot to literally any format that you want. So I would say that that is 5 out of 5. For the quality of free version, obviously this is a 1 out of 5. Like this isn't free. You have to pay for ChatGPT Plus. But if you're using ChatGPT Plus for other things, this is a way to do that for free. And then the detailed summary, I would say this is a 5 out of 5. This gave a really detailed summary for me. And it's specifically in the way that I want it. So I might be a little bit biased, but I think that this, obviously, you can customize it. If you want it even more detailed, you can have it make it even more detailed for you. So overall, I hope that this helps you when looking for a article summarizer, which you would want to use depending on what you need it for. Obviously, none of these article summarizers are made to be great for every single application. It's really about the application that you have and what you want to be able to do with that. Don't forget that all of these links are available below, and discount codes are also available for certain platforms. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.